our guest, Mr. Sowore, touched on the aspect of Nigeria Air, which has also generated a bit of reaction, backlash, and some controversy. A lot of Nigerians see it as a brilliant idea for us to have a national carrier. We've had one before, folded up. We had a partnership sometime with Virgin Nigeria, somehow. It went south. And the government is saying, see, let's try something new, a national carrier. And they went to London and unveiled it. Currently, we have started with the logo, which has generated a lot of reactions, which you have pointed out. But on its own merit, the idea is a brilliant one to have a national carrier. Is it?
No,
or not?
I've been a proponent of a Nigerian national carrier.
Yeah.
It's one of the things we will do when we win election next year, is to restore the Nigerian air. I mean, a national carrier to Nigeria, because a lot of international private carriers are ripping Nigerians off. When they're not, they're making a killing out of this place. Look at, Ethiopia Air, for example, British Airways. If you ask Emirates to fly to Nigeria 10 times in a day, it won't be enough for them. They're making a killing out of it, so we can as well just have our own, eat Nigeria food and even for the sake of it, watch Nigerian movies and even for the sake of it, provide employment to our own people, our pilots, and start to just feel like we can do things right. Because look at the whole of the African continent. Even Rwanda has an airline. Tanzania just set up their own airline. There's Kenya Airways, South Africa Airways. I'm sure Ghana is going to come up with their own airline very soon. There's Egyptian Airways. There's Air Maroc, which is equivalent to Molue. But yet instead of having to travel through these third countries on the continent of Africa, there are people who are flying from the US, the first flight to Ethiopia, or they fly to Togo, and then some other airline will carry you from there. It's got a lot of benefits, but it has to be done right. You don't want to set up an airline that people start putting their dogs and nannies and all of that nonsense that killed Nigerian Airways in the past. But something that is done right, and we don't have to continue to be afraid of doing what is right by saying, well, when government touches it, it's going to be the end of it. No. There are Nigerians who can run airlines very well. The guy who is running one of the terminals in Heathrow in London is a Nigerian guy. I just heard when I went to Scotland, he just got a contract to take over that of Scotland too. One of the airports in Scotland, I think, is Edinburgh, and he's a Nigerian. So, we just have to start from somewhere to do something. For Ali and the Angel.
Well, that was because we don't have the airline just yet, so it's going to start off in December.
So why launch something in the first place?
Shopping for investors.
No, you don't. You cannot claim you're shopping for investors by launching a logo. You see, if, for example, you have only 5% of the 5%, that's why this is fraud. It's just an election.
Why would you say it's fraud?
It is fraud because there's no airline in existence at all. When you want to register a business, you go to CAC. You register the business first before you go and open the bank account.
Strategy to shop for investors.
No, you don't know how to shop for investors for airlines.
We have this idea. Come join us.
Okay, if you think I'm wrong, why is CNN making fun of them? You think?
We could correct them.
Here you go again. Because governance has become a joke in this country, and we must correct that. We cannot have Nigeria being ridiculed.
So we're putting the cat before the horse here.
That's what they're doing. But it's not that that's even annoying. It's the fact that this is meant to, just fool Nigerians. It's only calculated to make people feel like, this government is doing wonderful things.
But it's in December. It's not outrageously long from when.
In December, you are going to not enter an aircraft where you're going to climb that ladder to no aircraft. So buy your ticket early.
All right. Working with the meme again. All right. Well, we can only have some faith.
This is another way to put it, right? This is July, right?
Yeah.
If you're coming to Nigeria on an airline in December, you are buying your ticket now. That's how it works in other places. So if an airline is happening in December, and you don't have an office, you don't have a ticket counter, you don't know who is the managing director of, you don't know which pilots, you don't even know the tail number of the plane that is going to fly you. The planes have not been certified, you have not designed the routes, you have not done anything at all, just a logo. You better be ready to be flying on a Facebook, on Nigeria Air.
All right. Well,
From one Facebook page to the other.
About the prospect
I would have been excited if it was properly done, and the good news is that we're going to do it right next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as long as something is done,
Yeah.
anything that's cheaper help create employment, job employment, and gives us some form of identity.
And pride as well, yes.
That is definitely.
It would be great if we flew, Nigerian Super Eagles to the World Cup on Air Nigeria.
Indeed.
And not in a bubble.
If you to join us, we're live on Facebook. You can tweet at Nigeria Info ABJ. You can send via WhatsApp also 080-999-30137 to share your take on some of the stories so far. Looking at this issue of, I know recently after an interview where the position of the government on detaining certain individual, for example, El Zakzaki came to the fore again, and why, Dasuki also has been detained for some reason,
Yes.
threat, flight risk, if he's allowed to bail for some time. That's raised the issue of due process,
The rule of law.
the
Yes.
rule of law
Yes.
in the country.
Yes.
This government apparently has been guilty on that front of holding on to people that the courts say to let them be granted bail at one particular point in time.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's very little that can be done, because if the law court says let them receive bail on whatever ground and they are not, what else can be done in terms of the rule of law? What does this actually do to our democracy? Not like this government is the one guilty of it, but we've seen this trend.
The government is guilty of a lot of things, but in this particular case, the government has violated the constitution of Nigeria.
If you were president, you would let these individuals walk away.
Oh, absolutely. Why not?
Preponderance of allegations against them.
No, it's what allegations do they have against them that didn't even emerge from our website in the first place? This allegation started on SAHARA reporters, were the ones obtaining all the bank accounts that they were transferring money, including, I remember, a governor who took about 1.7 billion naira to go and pray in Saudi Arabia for the election of Jonathan. He hired marabouts. So, those guys are free. There was a case of Chief Jimu Obodo who collected 100 million naira. The moment he joined the APC, he was never even tried or questioned. Even Obani Koro, who did the rigging of election in Ekiti, the moment he spent a few days in the FCC, now he's going to become a senatorial candidate for the APC in Lagos West Senatorial District. So it's just hypocrisy. It has reached a point where the conclusion is that they're holding grudges against these individuals, and they're using federal might, abusing their offices to hold them against the will of the Constitution of Nigeria. It's unacceptable. The sad part is that when this government is gone, the country will have to pay for it, because these individuals still have recourse to get compensated in court, and it could be in billions of naira. So you should not have allowed this to happen. The moment the courts made a pronouncement, you should not interfere with the pronouncement of the court. I personally have problems with some of our judges, but that cannot affect the sanctity of judicial pronouncements. And so you cannot. What we are doing now is we are operating a jungle justice system, where the courts say one thing and the president says, this is what I want. That's exactly what military rulers used to do. And I heard that Buhari used to be conscious of being called a military dictator. Definitely the military dictatorship in him has reared its ugly head again. And that's why he needs to go back to his village come next year.
Okay,
Yes, we have to retire this kind of nonsense from our system.
All right.
I know my use of French,
People might take exception.
No, anybody can take exception.
They might take exception to referring to how he's running Nigeria in the words that you use.
Oh man, anything that violates the constitution is nonsensical. I would defend that anywhere.
In terms of not following the rule of law?
Yes, absolutely. It's not only nonsensical, it's criminal. Yes.
Yeah, but then you also look at the allegation against this individual. I understand when it comes to the law and
somebody
the
can
courts,
allege that somebody can allege that what you are doing on air is illegal. Doesn't make it illegal simply because you offend them on air. It doesn't make it illegal. It's the courts that have to determine the legality of or the legality of an individual action, not the president of the country. What we are having here is, the rule of thumb as against the rule of law. Yes.
All right then. And let's look at a few of the thoughts that have come in since we started our discussion here. Artistic G, listening from Jahi, says, good afternoon, Mr. Sowore. The presidency and the security agents are treating the security issues affecting the country this way because no close member of the family have been touched. Their interests have not been affected yet. When this happened, I'll show you the speed by which the security issues were brought to check. An example is what happened weeks before the 2015 election. Boko Haram was brought to its news for the election to hold. And further to the concern, there's a very lengthy one, I'm going to skip it. Please let your guests know that seeing castigation, every move by everybody cannot make him the best president. Okay. You use an adage of a man who says the cane with which the elderly wife was beating is usually kept on the ceiling waiting for the younger wife. So for this reason, let him try and be balanced on every issue. Admire his vast knowledge on every issue. Caller sent this one in saying that the stick they're using to flog now will be waiting if you become president in the future.
I'm not.
Nigerians will hold you to your words also.
I don't support corporal punishment, so flogging is not going to happen in my time.
All right, verbal flogging. We'll be waiting. I'd like your guests to reach out to other young presidential aspirants so that they will work together. If possible, present one of them to stand and others will support whoever is chosen. I think that way they would succeed. I've seen a few comments asking about what party you align yourself with, if you're going to form a coalition of some sort to be a bit more formidable.
End of July, we're going to pronounce that.
Okay.
Yes.
July is a few days away to the end of the month.
That's
we're
right.
going to know the party you align yourself with.
That's right.
And see if it's strong enough.
It's not going to matter.
It's not? You think an individual can drive?
No, it's not an individual. I'm not the only person. There's a lot of young people who are aspiring to have this country move out of the woods. That's the people I'm speaking on behalf of on this matter. And whenever we decide to go, we'll go. When APC came the last time, people thought they could deliver. People followed them and they won the election. So it's nothing new. That the new party cannot win an election in Nigeria. We had new party, APC, win an election. But that APC medicine has expired.
Well, someone sent in one talking about you not being in the country half the time, and it's easy to follow the stories and publish them. It's another thing to sit back in Nigeria, experience it enough to know the solutions that we can bring from here. It's not easy, though, to think you can use the template to use, say, somewhere in the United States where you reside to work here in Nigeria. His allegation is you don't stay in Nigeria enough.
I've spent more time in Nigeria than President Buhari in the last 3 years. You can check that.
I don't know if that's a good example to you.
No, I'm just telling you that.
He's been here almost all his life.
But I have been here. I've been here my entire life, and the fact that I traveled out or lived outside doesn't mean that I know what's happening. And nobody knows when I'm in and out, because until recently, I don't travel to Nigeria officially. So I travel through other means. So that will be disclosed at another discussion in the future.
All right. Well, for all those who are asking, because I've seen quite a number of the messages coming in asking what political party, so they know what to work out.
It's great interest.
No precise date, end of July, last day in July. It's going to be through SAHARA Reporter, a statement put out.
I've not even done anything through SAHARA Reporter in a long time. I have my own channels, Sowore2019.org, and that's the same on Facebook, Twitter.
It's a pleasure having Mr. Sowore on the roundtable. Changing security chiefs will have minimal impact. Attacks in the country are mostly fueled by systemic factors, inadequacy of manpower and equipment, subversion, proliferation of small arms, light weapons, political saboteurs, corruption, and lack of conflict resolution mechanism at societal level. Low level of political socialization. Despite these challenges, the president was claimed from many quarters to have scored above average compared to where Nigeria was at 2015 May. Nasara from Maraba. Someone else seemed to think you're making it sound very simplistic, these security issues that we're grappling with. It's a major fundamental one that has gone beyond the just narrow narrative we're putting out.
I've done a great job in the past simplifying political corruption that is affecting security issues, and narrowed it down to why it was so. When our generals will go buy a tank that's fake from, say, Ukraine, and someone is sitting in there thinking it's protected and get blown up into pieces, when we report that, we are reporting simplistically a reason why security could have been better if we didn't embezzle money and divert them and misappropriate them. And a few months later, in 2015 still, all these former chief security officials were arrested and they found monies, millions of dollars in their house. Some of them are undergoing trial. When we were reporting on those things in 2013 and 2014, and saying that these people were stealing money, some all these things have been verified, certified, and confirmed. And I'm here in front of you saying it's not as difficult as it makes it sound. There's a lot of things we can do if we have the right person commanding the armed forces. I'm telling you, it's very important. Indeed.
Well, let's open the phone lines. We still have one more story to take a look at, but let's open the phone lines and engage the people a little, feel their pulse on our discussion so far. Quite a number of messages, but it'd be nice to hear from you by telephone 09 4600 951 0809 5974 869 0803 123 0293 080 008 Nigeria Info. Please let's give it short, straight to the point as you comment on the stories. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is from Successive.
All right, 60 seconds.
In fact, I owe you credit of what I was marvelous. I have someone who said it. Forgetting whether you be president of Nigeria, but why are all of us are doing it? So that tomorrow it will not burst out. Because if we start covering level, one day shall one day. Understand? It's good we started giving ourselves the truth at the first time. Just like to talk about it's another man, I'm an equal man. But what we are talking about, let us keep the rule of law. So that tomorrow it will be a reference. You can't be saying, hanging him out. Why not this is passport and other things? Okay. Just like they used to do in law. So that we know that the man is being, that kind of thing. I'm coming about that something. All is our past class.
All right.
They do something on their own. It doesn't benefit the masses. The 5%, who wants to take so and take what we are the 1% government that will control it.
PC.
That is what I'm talking.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, it wasn't really clear enough for us to make out everything you said. Hello.
The lady with the golden voice.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, I want to at least just salute your guest. But you see, people like us not always want to cherish the opinion they are putting up in place. Because when we are looking at where we're coming from, sometimes I don't want to agree with their positions. And what he has posted so far, I think they are good for him, and so they should serve as a therapy to at least hear most of his opinions well. But for us, no. The issue at stake, when he talks about government and what has been done, that's why I like what Menasada posted. That is so correct, because when you look at the issues from the chieftaincy or chief level, or the higher level, we will not get things right. What are the governors doing in their state? Most of all these persons who have at least become emperor, don't they have security votes in their kitty? What do they do with it? So these are the questions we must always ask. What are the local governments also doing? So what are the people doing to also help us to check this corruption until everybody's involved to check this issue of insecurity? I think we are going to at least find it difficult to keep. Let me also talk about the Azagzagi and the other Dasuki he talked about. See, the issue of Dasuki and Azagzagi, I think there are a lot of crimes these persons have committed against people. And so we cannot afford to have them. In the Southwest, don't you have Muslims? Why is it that it's only in this place you have tyrannical preachers and people who want to at least begin to distort the issue of at least religion, and you allow such persons to be at least living in society where we live? I think they should be kept in a very secluded place like that. That's my contribution.
All right. And secluded place, it doesn't matter what the courts say. I'll go ahead and seclude them all the same, just to get your position clear on that. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are welcome back.
Thank you very much.
And I want to greet your guest there. My name is Salasi.
Go on, Salasi.
Honestly, he has analyzed well, most especially in the aspect of security. You can imagine this former commissioner that was killed 2 days back along the Buhari Road. And we are talking of, if whenever to travel, my mind will be beating because I don't know the unknown. I'm always afraid of the unknown. Come to the issue of this flagging off of Nigeria Airways. Me, I know say it's campaign. This is campaign strategy. They are doing that in order to get popularity. They say, they have been of the Nigeria carrier. You haven't even made our airport to be 100%. We don't even have better airport in this country. Our airport has not even ranked in the world, first world in the country. And you're talking of, all these things is campaign. That's what I want to see. And it won't work. It's propaganda. Thank you.
All right. Lassie thinks it's propaganda. Our airport do need to be upgraded, not just the one in Abuja and Lagos. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I have Mr. Sowore with me as my guest analyst, so go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Abdul Ibrahim from Marava.
Welcome.
Your guest is trying. You see what is happened to Nigeria? The sentiments and other things, we don't want the truth. We don't want to tell ourselves truth.
What truth are you talking about?
What the truth I'm telling you? Let me tell you simply. When your guest is an analyst, is making analysis. Is it analysis or is coming for campaign? The campaign time have never started. When you come in to make analysis for people to know, then you go direct to analysis, not to condemn. The man is making, what is it called? 6 months, he has never, this is not so, this is not so. Let him tell us the question you ask him. Please, thank you very much. Bring people who love Nigeria to tell us, this man cannot win cancer.
Okay, all right. Apparently he doesn't think you love Nigeria enough.